コンピューター科学とロボット工学の世界的先駆者であるレディ博士は、その教育、医療、福祉といった広範な応用と未来社会への変革の貢献によって2006年に本田賞を受賞しました。その後、介護支援ロボットや救助ロボット技術をはじめとし、テレビ電話、事故防止システムを搭載した自動車、全地球規模の情報・知識へのアクセス、オンデマンドエンターテインメント、オンデマンド学習、遠隔医療など、人々の生活に密接なサービスの実現に力を尽くしてきました。人間性あふれる社会を作るためには、持続可能、入手可能、そして拡張性があるソリューションの創造を目指すべきと考える博士が、すべての人々に平等に生かされる新しい技術の可能性を示します。それではレディ博士、お願いします。Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Reddy.
Good afternoon. It's kind of late, but I'm sure you'll have an exciting panel discussion, so I recommend that we get there quickly. It's an honor to be back here and participating in the Honda Memorial Symposium with distinguished laureates. The theme of the symposium today is on how to create a truly humane civilization and to review and explore solutions on the issues facing modern society from an eco-technology perspective. Technological innovation in the past has been largely responsible for the improvement of the quality of life. So if you look back 200 years ago, women spent all the day in the kitchen cooking. That's all they did. And men spent all the day in the fields working in the agriculture. Today, as Dr. Anderson pointed out, we probably work less than 20% of our daily hours in work, and it's supposed to go to 7% in another 10, 15 years. That's amazing. So technological innovation comes in many forms, not all of which are eco-technologies. But the closest thing I can think of a good eco-technology, but doesn't quite fit Mr. Soichiro Honda's definition, is the invention of self-driving car, which is just around the corner. I've been working on it since 1982, and we knew it could be done, 15 years later. We went to General Motors and said, we should start working together to do this. They said, no, we are already doing it. Don't bother us with your ideas. Okay. And now it's 20 years later, they haven't done it yet. But we have Google doing a self-driving car. And I hear that Honda is about to release their self-driving car. I hope it will be the largest selling car. But unfortunately, this particular technology doesn't quite satisfy the requirements of scalable, sustainable, and affordable. Only less than 15% of the population have cars today. Out of those who can afford a self-driving car, maybe half as many. Even that, they may have to wait another 10, 15 years for the cost to come down. So this affordability. Now the issue of sustainability and the pollution and various other problems we have with all the cars, including fossil fuel cars, makes it not quite the eco-technology that Mr. Soichiro Honda thought about. Today, I'd like to talk to you about one magical technology, at least to me it seems like a magical technology, that I think would enable a truly humane society for every man, woman, and child. Every man, woman, and child on the planet. And the issue there is it affordable by every man, woman, and child? And I'll try to convince you it is. The topic is to create a guardian angel, which is always with you, knows everything about you, and is able to give you the right information at the right time frame to every person. The right information for you is not the same as the right information for me. It has to give the right information to the right people at the right time. The assumption is if each of us knew the right information at the right time frame, then we can make appropriate decisions to avoid catastrophes like Fukushima or the recent Mount Humane explosion, and all kinds of things. And they're knowable. And the way this whole presentation is to convince you that this can be done, and it is affordable for every man, woman, and child. And it's a truly magical technology that fits Soichiro Honda's definition of eco-technology. So let's kind of revisit the technology definition, the definition of Soichiro Honda's 1978 vision. The Honda Foundation vision of helping to create a truly humane civilization is as important today as it was 35 years ago. However, given the rapid change of pace in technology innovation over the last 5 decades, it may be desirable to re-examine the strategy and tactics needed for achieving this vision. To create a truly humane society, we must aspire to create scalable, sustainable, and affordable solutions to provide for the basic needs of all the human beings of the planet. This is a very important sentence. A truly humane society will provide the basic needs of every person on the planet. So what are the basic needs of every person on the planet? We all need water. We all need energy. We all need food. We all need shelter. We all need clothing. We all need, I can go on in the list. And these are not, these are not negotiable. Everybody needs them. And insofar as we can work towards making sure that every human being has them, then we will come towards creating that humane society. It is not only the material possessions. If you look at all the things I said, food, energy, water, transportation, various other things, they're all what I call atom-based, physical things. There's also information solutions. When you get information, then there's a whole set of things that Dr. Anderson talked about on information economies. So we need to kind of look at the societal needs. There's also a set of needs of every human being that are related to the rights, human rights. Every person has a right for freedom from slavery. Every person has a right for freedom from torture. So I went through and made a list. I didn't make a list. I collected this list of basic rights. The United Nations in 1948 collected a set of 30 basic human rights that we are all entitled to. This is was a major philosophical discussion in the 18th and 19th century, where there are certain inalienable rights for every human being, for the right to, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, as Jefferson and Madison wrote in the Constitution, in the Declaration of Independence. To me, I can live with many of them. Even if I don't have freedom of religion, I may be able to live with it. Not completely, but the religion turns out to be one of the biggest sources of friction in the whole world today. It should not be. You take Muslims, there are two sects, Sunni and Shia. They're constantly fighting and killing each other. It should not be the case. And it's not at all obvious to me what it is that we can do, but at least slavery and torture are things that we should try to kind of eliminate or abolish. But unfortunately, that's not true. There are 30 million people today that have some kind of, they're under some slavery type conditions. If you look at there's an index called Human Slavery Index. If you go to Google and type it, you'll find it. And there are 30 million people. And unfortunately, I'm ashamed to say, I come originally from India, I've been in the US for 50 years. I'm ashamed to say, India has the largest number of slavery. And slavery, modern slavery is not like the old slavery. It's defined to be indentured labor, where because of debts or something, you sell your son or daughter into another family, and they're there for 20 years or 30 years or something. That is slavery. And there are trafficking and all kinds of examples of this kind, and they collect these things, and it's amazing to me, because I never see the slavery when I was growing up, but there are parts of the country. India is a big country with 1.3 billion people. There are parts where there are tribal areas where the education is not there. They're still living like they were living 500 years ago. And indentured labor is an accepted form of settling disputes. So the issue here is for us to understand and define what we mean by a humane society. I said a humane society must provide the basic needs, and it must provide the basic human rights. And the question is, how can we, Honda Foundation and all of us together, make that happen? What do we need to do to create a humane society? To give you some examples of the country. Typhoons and earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanoes seem to be the bane of Japan. And all of these, you seem to have more than your share of these things. The most recent explosion of the volcano in Japan was so dramatic, even those of us in the United States were surprised. No part of the world is immune to death and devastation from natural disasters. Japan seems to have more than its fair share of calamities. And what I'm proposing is, if we had a guardian angel technology which got the right information to the right people at the right time, 80–90% of the deaths could be avoided. And that would be something that a humane society would do, if it can do it using its technology. So, the main thesis of this talk then is that mobile technology is sufficiently advanced today that it is now possible to envision that every person should get a location-specific, personalized warning about potential calamities like typhoons and tsunamis as soon as they are known or knowable. It assumes that we can create and deliver personal guardian angel to every person on the planet embedded in a smartphone. Guardian angels perform future-aware computation and whisper personalized warnings in your ear about potential problems. It assumes that a Facebook or a social network of guardian angels are able to talk among themselves to discover what is known and what is knowable to all of them. If every person on the planet has a guardian angel and they're all on a Facebook, they can discover. The only problem is privacy. I may not want my guardian angel discussing all my details with everybody else, but it's a solvable problem, I assure you. We understand anonymization. We understand what kinds of things are already available through, for example, the traffic system in Tokyo is controlled by the cell phone location. And traffic jams are identified and predicted by cell phone location. So this is doable. So, so let me say a little bit more about what this personal guardian angel looks like. A personal guardian angel is a virtual avatar which is assigned to protect and guide a particular person. It knows everything about her, except possibly her deep, dark secrets that she has not even whispered to anyone else in the world. If you've said that to somebody, the guardian angel knows it. If you don't say it to anyone, then the guardian angel doesn't know it, if you don't discuss it. From a technical perspective, think of a personal guardian angel as an intelligent agent or an app on your cell phone which is on steroids. It would not reside on your cell phone. You don't tap it and activate it. It's always on, 24/7, autonomic and non-intrusive. It never asks you anything. It never tells you anything. Doesn't bother you. It's always learning and self-adapting to users' habits, preferences, and commands of the user. A personal guardian angel is expected to monitor, analyze, and learn from experience, and share the knowledge with a community of guardian angels. It is capable of automated discovery of data and information sources. Personal guardian angels must communicate with human users. The publish-subscribe mechanism of social networks is adequate if you know what you want and from whom. Who do you ask when you don't know who to ask? What if you don't know who to friend? And these problems are solvable, technical problems. They are solvable so that a guardian angel in a Facebook-type environment can declare and decide what kinds of knowledge it needs and assign them as your friends so that you're actually getting all the knowledge, not only that you have, but everybody else has, that might impact you in the future. Data suitably anonymized can be used to learn appropriate responses for every possible situation. The system non-intrusively learns. This is very important. It must never ask the owner anything. It must learn by itself. And we know how to do it. Believe me. These days, for example, if you go to Google, you can translate from Japanese to Chinese or Hindi or anything if you want. It's not perfect, but it's almost good, good enough for you to understand what the message is. And what it is it is derived by learning from data of literally billions of characters, trillions of characters collected from large numbers of people. When you have that much data, what we call big data, data analysis makes it possible to predict almost everything. When you're typing, you see predictive words. It is not just the word in that that you just typed 2 characters. It is using n-grams, up to 10 words, 5 words before and after, so that it's able to predict in this context of what you just said, what is the most likely word? Most of the time, even before you type the word, it appears. And so it's the predictive power of the languages is amazing these days. So so a humane civilization should be able to use a personal guardian angel to get the right information to the right people at the right time, in the right language, in the right medium, because not everybody knows how to read. There are many illiterate people. Not everybody knows English. There are people that may need another language. So the right medium or text and multimedia turns out to be very important. At the right level of detail. All of these things can be and are already possible to be done today. We call this the Bill of Rights. Right information to the right people at the right time, in the right language, in the right medium, and the right level of granularity. 6 Bill of Rights. So, by 2020, a smartphone can be expected to cost about $20. That's about 10% of what it is today. That's what makes it scalable technology. Today, at the cost they're in, like smartphones cost $200, $300, almost half of the population of the world cannot afford it. But by 2020, when the cost goes down by a factor of 90%, then it turns out every man, woman, and child will have at least 16 GB, maybe more, of space on the cloud from Facebook, Google, and Microsoft, enough to host all of your personal information. So the information is gathering from your daily activities. The guardian angel saves there. It looks for the patterns of behavior. And then it says, are any other people among my friends having the same behavior? Given that behavior, what did they do? And then it is predicting. It's trying to help you to do the right thing in the right time frame. Language divide and literacy divide are problems that we just discussed. Sustainability and affordability are natural consequences of exponential reduction in size and cost of information technology. Now let's go to the affordability. I just said, believe me, everybody will be able to afford one. Have you thought about roads and water and systems of infrastructure like sanitation that all of us have? Somehow society decided it is necessary to have those fundamental things as a public good. So the government builds the roads and the airports and the sanitation systems and water supply systems. And there are certain things the society decided should be in private sector. One of them is telephony. When the telephony came in, they said, no, this is a very expensive technology. This is only for rich people, so we don't need to make it a public good. Guess what? Now every man, woman, and child needs a phone and needs to be able to communicate and cannot do without it. And therefore, we just need to kind of ask the question, if it's good enough to build an electric grid and roads and other infrastructure, why is it not the case that the governments and society should not provide every person on the planet with a smartphone, especially if it only costs $20? Just so that you know, $20 is like less than 1%, 0.1% of per capita income of most countries. If you take United States and Japan, they're all at $40,000 to $50,000 dollars per year per capita income. 1% of that is $500. 0.1% is like $50. It's less than 0.1%. Why can't we, the society, provide every person with a smartphone if it is as powerful as I'm claiming it to be? It can be made to be. So the big elephant in the room is the cost, enabling the guardian angels. We begin with the assumption every person will have to have a free, sensor-intensive smartphone. It's very important. One of the major innovations that happened in the computer science in the last 15 years is the arrival of the smartphone. Before then, all computers, all laptops, everything had computation, but it did not have sensors and actuators. Today, if you buy any of the smartphones, Samsung or anything else, they even have a barometer and all kinds of sensors. There are about 10 different sensors, GPS being the most important one, location sensing, and it has cameras and microphones. Most of the systems didn't have that 15 years ago. And these are essential parts of building a guardian angel. If you don't have sensing capability in your environment, all you have is computation. It's not useful for building a guardian angel. A guardian angel must constantly monitor what is happening to you, what you're doing, how you're doing it. And then it has to discover for itself how it can adopt the system. In that kind of a situation, a smartphone costing, let's say even $50, because if I want sensor-intensive smartphone, I want every sensor that is there in an iPhone 6, let's say, then it may be even $50. I'm saying there are lots of beneficiaries of this technology, the people that make the phone, the people that provide the service, the government, and the IT industry. And therefore, each of them should pay 1/4 of the cost so that everybody has a smartphone. There are all kinds of distribution issues and other kinds of things. I'll have to talk to my friend, Dr. Anderson, to come up with an economic model so that people don't game the thing. But it's possible. I can work out systems where everybody can have it, everybody can upgrade if they can afford better systems, and so on. So, you have to, if you don't believe what I have there on the slide, you have to trust me, and otherwise I'll be happy to answer questions. But I believe we can think of a way of doing it without any problem. And the biggest other problem is privacy. If a guardian angel that on my body, it knows everything I'm doing, have I no secrets at all? Is there a way I can turn off the phone? It turns out you cannot, in this phone, even if you turn it off, if there is some emergency, it will turn the phone back on and warn you. Current phones don't have that capability because they're trying to save energy. But in the future phones, you can turn them every 5 minutes or so and get warning systems without losing too much energy. It turns out this is a new feature that will come. I've been talking to phone manufacturers. They shake their head, and I'm sure it'll happen. They did the same thing when I was saying we need cameras and we need microphones on every phone and every laptop, and it only took 10 years for that to happen. So the privacy, a guardian angel knows the location information of the owner at all times so as to provide an alert and a detailed notification. If needed, it must be able to turn on the smartphone. No privacy breach, because every guardian angel only shares the information already known to other people, like the service provider already knows where you are. Location information is already there. So in conclusion, Creation of guardian angel technologies for providing the right information to every man, woman, and child on the planet in a timely manner can eliminate, surprise, and reduce human suffering and misery. While the cost appears to be prohibitive, on a per capita basis, it represents less than 0.1% of the gross world product. A social network of guardian angels that can anticipate potential disastrous incidents in the life of each person on the planet and warn and take protective actions might be able to save 50 to 80% of all accidental deaths in the world. This would result in savings of over 1 million lives and hundreds of billions of dollars of damage to property. This is certainly the most important research that we computer scientists could be doing in the 21st century. And it is certainly the most important research project that the Honda Foundation could be doing and undertaking to create a humane society. Finally, options for Honda Foundation in the 21st century for creating a humane civilization. Sponsor annual competitions and prizes and promote best practices in creating and identifying sustainable, scalable, affordable solutions in all areas of basic needs of human society: food, energy, water, transportation, education, and so on. Basic human rights: life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, freedom from slavery and torture, safety and security from natural and man-made disasters. In general, the guardian angel concepts, systems, and solutions can be applied not just to some natural calamities like the ones I showed you, but for almost any problem you can think of that would affect each individual. It can be used to identify potential violations of basic rights and ensure the basic needs and rights of human beings, individuals in the humane society. Therefore, I submit that this is the most important technology towards creating a humane civilization. Thank you.